Hey guys, welcome back to another video. We're back home now. Got home a couple of days ago from our Japan trip. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you most of the haul that I got. Um, and I'll sort of, if I can remember the prices, some of them still have prices on them, others don't. So if I can remember the prices, I'll let you know. But it just gives you an example of what you can buy in Japan at the moment. So I'll show you now. So one of the first things I got here is in Japan, they do a lot of sort of big box items, and this is a Nintendo DS one that has like a book in it and all that kind of stuff. It's actually really, really cool. But I only paid about $3 Australian for that, so that was a pretty good deal. And everything's complete. Just like it's unused, the book is immaculate. The game's in there, the little spine card and everything's in there as well. So that's pretty cool. And then I've got I showed it in the previous video, my Nintendo Switch I got for about $100 Australian. Bought a couple extra games for it as well as the docking station and the little handpiece there. They were like $2.50 each Australian at the second-hand shop, which is pretty good. And next I've got that for the GameCube, which I showed you before, the Donkey Konga that has the game inside it, the drum program thing. That was cheap as, I think it was like $8 Australian or something. And then I got the old Famicom disc system in a box. This one I bought in the last video. I said I bought that one, but it wasn't actually that one I bought. This one only cost me about $14 Australian in a box. And I also bought a game for it as well. That one's got a price on it. It's around about $9 Australian for the disc game, which is pretty cool. And bought a couple of PS1s. I mean, they were cheap as. They were like $3 each. I know they're 110 volt, which is different from what we have in Australia, but I can just put a aftermarket power supply on those. And I've bought a couple of PS1 games as well. They were like cheap as, like $1 each, something like that. But I can change it if I want to. And here's one of my holy grail items, a Virtual Boy there, complete with the stand, the controller. It's got the power supply and everything as well, but again 110 volts, so I'll just get a 240 volt one for that. As well as 3 games there that are pretty much brand new, never been used. I can't remember what I paid for that, but a lot cheaper than what I could buy on eBay, a lot cheaper. And bought a Game Gear as well. This one turns on, but of course the screen doesn't work, so that'll just need recapping like I've done in my earlier videos. That was only about $30 Australian. It's pretty cheap. So that's why I grabbed that, because it's quite tidy. And then I've got I forget what they're called, Neo Geo Pocket, one of those. And this one's actually got a little bit of thing on the polarizer on the screen, but that's an easy fix. Apart from that, it goes, which is cool. Then I've got those Tetris DMG games I bought. They were like $2.50 each, if that. Sega Mega Drive Sonic game. I bought that just because it's an unusual Game Boy game with the big piece on the top. I haven't even looked at that yet. And then I bought some original DS's. They were pretty cheap. They were about $12 each. Most of them had faults, but when I did the Google Translate on them, the fault was actually battery only. So that should be an easy fix. I know a couple of them got hinge issues, but I can case swap those. That'll be fine. And there's the DSi that I bought. That was cheap. And just going through junk boxes, sometimes you come across some gems, like these Game Boys here were about $20 each. Haven't even tested them, but I mean, they're pretty easy to fix, as you've seen in my previous videos. And Game Boy Advances as well as Game Boy Colors that just have polarizing issues. And then there's a boxed DMG Game Boy game, the racing car one, which is pretty cool. Then we've got these PSP games that I showed you earlier in these boxes. Quite neat because they sort of come in these big thick boxes, which is quite cool, but they're only like $2.50, $2.30 each. Pretty cheap. So that's why I bought them. Then we can go onto here. There's some Super Famicoms, which are like Super Nintendos here in Australia. There's 3 of them there. but I actually bought about 6 of them. You can see the price there. They were like about $4.50 Australian. They were cheap as. Hardly any faults with them, and real easy to make them region free as well. And I bought a bag full of controllers. There's only 2 of them there, but they were like $1 each, so that's pretty cool. And then I've got this little special one here which has the Nintendo station rack, which is pretty cool. You can see there. And it has I bought a whole heap of games as well, so you can fit the games in there. Games were like $1 each, if that, 80 cents, all sorts of stuff there, so that was pretty cool. And then we've got PS Vita games. These are all really tidy, and they were like $2.50 each for PS Vitas. All sorts of different ones there, Minecraft, and there's some sports ones which are really cheap, but then you also got Call of Duty, stuff like that, which is cool. And then I just bought some random sort of Super Famicom games in boxes. Baseball ones, Space Invaders, which is cool. That was only about $4.50. And got some box Nintendo 64 games. Got Mario Tennis and 1080 snowboarding one there. Donkey Kong 64, that was like 80 cents. That's the only reason I bought it. So yeah, ones like that. Then every now and then you come across hidden gems like this. This was a Japanese exclusive Game Gear that came in a box, and it came with the Mickey Mouse game. So this one's all in a box. Probably need recapping. I haven't even tried the Game Gear, but it's pretty tidy. And I also bought some random Game Gear games, just like Echo the Dolphin and Drift, and another Mickey Mouse one there, Sonic Drift and Sonic and Tails. And then I bought some DS games as well there, and you can see the prices. I mean, look at that one, 200 yen, so it's about $1.70 Australian, and they're pretty cheap. And some 3DS games as well. That one there, 100 yen, so about 80 cents. Yeah, the only reason I bought them is just because they're cheap and good for my collection. Then I just bought Super Mario Brothers for the Wii, sealed. And then I've got a Sega Dreamcast Hello Kitty version that came with a keyboard and a Hello Kitty controller and Hello Kitty games. Can't remember what I paid for that, probably about $80 Australian, which is fairly cheap for a limited edition version. Haven't tested it, but I can region free that and make it play any of the games I have from here as well. And I think I did buy that game there was only about $8 for the Dreamcast as well. And I also bought some Saturn games because I do have a couple of Saturns there. Some of those games that are ranging from $4 to $8. And some of them still have the spine cards in them, which is pretty cool. And then I've got some Wonder Swans here. All have issues with the screen by the look of it, just polarizes, but they're an easy fix. I do have a few Wonder Swans in different colors, but I'm just trying to collect one of each color. And they were pretty cheap. I think they were about $10, $12 each. And then I've got the Nintendo Pokemon Mini here. That doesn't go at the moment, but that will be a fix, and I'll probably have that in an upcoming video with some games. So that's just part of the haul. As you can see, it's a fair bit. I'll go back here. As you can see, it's a fair bit there, but I still have more that I did buy a couple of GameCubes, the orange one that I showed earlier. I bought a blue one as well. I've got more controllers, like I've got GameCube controllers there that I paid about $9 each for, but I've got more. A lot of the stuff, if it's not going, I can fix, and you'll probably see in upcoming videos, which I will publish in the weeks to come. And that'll be really cool. Get these things up and running. And any extras I have, I'll just chuck them on Marketplace and sell them. But yeah, this is some of the stuff you can buy in Japan at the moment still. And really, really good prices too. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll get back into my repair videos for next Friday. And if you like the videos, give them a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It all helps. And we'll see you next week.